In a coastal village where the horizon bleeds into shades of purple and deep sea blue, lived a man named Eeshwaran. His skin was a map of the tides, and his heart beat in sync with the crashing waves. To the world, he was a humble fisherman. To the ocean, he was a sun. The day the great whirlwind struck, the sky turned a bruised midnight black, while the world retreated in fear and the authorities signaled the shore. Eeshwaran did the unthinkable. He sailed directly into the heart of the storm. He didn't go for gold or glory. He went for a life that the abyss tried to claim, guided by an ancient, sunken statue of Lord Shiva that rose through the foam like a divine shield. Eeshwaran became the hands of the miracle the village had prayed for. He pulled a drowning child from the white fury, defying the very laws of nature. He emerged from the gale not as a hero, but as a reminder that when the storm is at its loudest, the quietest souls are often the strongest. Eeshwaran remains a legend of the coast, a living bridge between the mercy of the gods and the resilience of man. Let's dive into page 1. Eeshwaran was a man whose soul was etched with the salt of the ocean. A hardworking fisherman by trade and a diver by passion, he possessed a rhythmic understanding of the waves that few others could claim. To him, the sea was not just a source of livelihood, it was a sanctuary. Whether he was casting nets or engaging in the silent, focused art of spearfishing, Eeshwaran moved through the water with a grace that suggested he belonged to the deep as much as he did to the land. The atmosphere of a bright, sun-drenched afternoon shattered when a family of 4, a father, mother, and 2 daughters, encountered the ocean's hidden fury. While the younger daughter, an able swimmer, ventured into the deeper blue, the horizon suddenly darkened. A violent whirlwind erupted without warning, its cyclonic force lashing the water into a frenzy. Before her family's horrified eyes, the girl was swallowed by the churning white foam, dragged into the abyss by a current too powerful for human strength to fight. Desperation echoed along the shoreline as the family's screams for help were met by the brave efforts of strangers. One by one, local swimmers dived into the chaos, only to return exhausted and empty-handed. Their grim reports that she had likely been swept into the deep left the parents paralyzed by a grief that words could not touch. As the news went viral, the Coastal Guard and police arrived, transforming the beach into a command center of blinking lights and frantic coordination. Nature's wrath only intensified as a lashing rain began to fall, prompting the India Meteorological Department to issue a stern orange alert. The sky turned a bruised, midnight black by 7 p.m., and the waves grew into towering walls of water. For the safety of the rescuers, the authorities ordered all local fishermen back to shore. The mother, drenched and broken-hearted, collapsed onto the sand, begging the universe for a miracle that the official search teams, despite their high-tech tracking and spotlights, could not find. In the depths of her despair, the mother fell to her knees in the mud, her tear-filled eyes searching the heavens as she whispered prayers to Lord Shiva. It was in that moment of total surrender that a solitary beam of light cut through the storm's veil. From the darkness, a weathered fishing boat emerged, fighting against the gale. As it reached the shore, the Coastal Guard rushed forward to confront the fisherman who had defied the evacuation orders, demanding to know who he was and why he had risked his life. Stepping off the boat was Eeshwaran. He looked not like a man who had survived a storm, but like a man who had fulfilled a destiny. He explained that amidst the howling wind and blinding rain, he had spotted the girl drifting toward the open sea. She was unconscious and bloated from the water she had swallowed. He described a sight that silenced the crowd. A massive, ancient statue of Lord Shiva, lost to the sea years ago, had momentarily acted as a divine breakwater. Eeshwaran recounted how the statue created a shadow zone of calm water amidst the swirling vortex. Using his lifelong experience, he timed the currents and pushed the girl into the safety of the statue's lee. After ensuring she was breathing, he had signaled a passing medical vessel to rush her to the hospital. "I just received word," he said softly, "she is safe. She is alive." The father, overcome with gratitude, fumbled to remove the gold chain from his neck to reward the man who had brought his daughter back from the dead. But Eeshwaran gently pushed the gold away, his eyes reflecting the deep humility of the ocean. If you must thank someone, he gestured toward the crashing waves, thank the Lord. He stood in the water as a statue to give me the moment I needed to save her. The elder daughter stepped forward, her voice trembling with emotion as she looked at the fisherman. Uncle, she whispered, Lord Shiva didn't just save my sister as a statue. He saved her in the form of a living God, and that was you. The realization swept over the crowd, and even the stern police and coastal officers stood in silent respect for the man named Eeshwaran, whose name and spirit had become the miracle they all sought. Eeshwaran's legacy did not end with the rescue. He wore his father's khaki dress, who was a police officer in the same city years ago, and left his life in the ocean. Remembering his death anniversary, he opened the Rescue Act, which was given by the government as Bravery Award and the family's donations into a force for good, establishing a permanent rescue unit on the shore and installing bins to keep his beloved sea clean. The recovered statue was eventually enshrined in a coastal temple, becoming a beacon of hope. Years later, the two families remained intertwined, a bond forged in the storm and anchored by the selfless heart of a fisherman who asked for nothing but a cleaner ocean and a safer shore. As the sun set on the day the temple was finally consecrated, the village gathered not to celebrate a hero, but to witness a quiet promise. He stood at the water's edge with the girl he had saved, now a young woman who looked at the sea not with fear, but with reverence. They watched as the tide gently licked the feet of the black stone Shiva, now standing tall against the horizon. Eeshwaran realized then that the miracle at sea wasn't just the rescue from the storm, but the way a single act of courage had turned a place of tragedy into a sanctuary of peace. As the sky turned a deep, royal purple, he knew that the ocean, once a wild adversary, was now a silent guardian of their shared history. A reminder that as long as there is humanity, no one is ever truly lost to the deep.